Hey everyone, Donald here from Otaku Podcast. Recently, at their Worldwide Developers Conference, Apple announced iOS 6, the next version of their mobile operating system for iPhones, iPod Touches, and iPads. One major change coming in iOS 6 is that they're going to remove podcasts from the iPod application, and will be breaking this functionality out into its own app. Just recently, Apple released this app. The new Podcasts app will work currently with iOS 5 devices, but when iOS 6 comes along, this will be the new way of getting podcasts and listening to them on your mobile device. So I thought I'd show you today how to use the Podcasts app to subscribe to Otaku no Podcast. When you first launch the app, it'll automatically suck in any podcasts that you currently have synced to your device. Now you'll notice two tabs across the bottom. The Podcasts tab, obviously, shows you your list of currently subscribed podcasts. The Top Stations tab is interesting. It actually goes through and gets the top-rated podcasts in a variety of topics, for example, design, arts, business, and so on. And finally, you can use the Catalog button to search through the podcast directory and subscribe to any podcast. So here we have the list of featured podcasts. There's also a top charts section where you can see the top-rated podcasts. And finally, there's a search field. Let's use this to look for Otaku no Podcast. There we are. You can see that both the combined feed as well as the video and audio-only feeds are available. Let's subscribe to the combined feed. Tap into it, and you'll see a little description of the show, as well as a list of recent episodes. To play any given episode, just tap on it. This streams the episode over the network. You don't have to download it. If you'd rather choose to download the entire episode before playing it, just tap on the download link. And finally, if you wish to subscribe to the podcast, tap the subscribe button. Now you'll notice if you swipe all the way up to the top, you'll see this little control area. You can use the search box to filter through your list of subscribed podcasts, so you can easily find one. These buttons on the right also let you change the way that the list of subscribed podcasts is displayed. Right now you'll see they're displayed with the show icons. If you tap this button, it'll display it as a list. To start playing an episode, tap the show that you're interested in, and then tap the episode. Now across the bottom, you'll see buttons that control the playback. These two buttons skip to the previous show and the next show, respectively. The middle button, obviously, is a play-pause button, and the two buttons next to it will let you skip backwards 30 seconds or skip forwards 30 seconds. Now, if you tap on the album art logo, you'll see some more controls appear. This bar will let you swipe to any position in the show, and this dial will let you change the playback speed. You can make it slower or faster. This button will let you share what you're listening to by email, Twitter, or a text message. And finally, this button will set up a sleep timer, which will automatically stop playback after a certain amount of time. Now, if you go back to the episode list here, you'll see these I buttons. Tapping on those will bring you to the show notes. If you tap on the show name, it'll bring up a screen with additional options. Here you can choose whether or not you want to subscribe to this podcast. You can also choose whether you want to automatically download new episodes when they're released or not. If this setting is off, then you'll have to manually download or stream episodes as they come out. You can also choose the sort order, and, finally, you can mark all episodes as played or unplayed. Now, just for completeness' sake, here's how the program looks on the iPad. Again, you have your two tabs across the bottom with the podcasts as well as the top stations. And you have the catalog, where you can search through the podcast directory and subscribe to any show. Let's subscribe to Otaku no Podcast here. Tapping on an entry will bring you to a list of their episodes. And again, you can either stream straight from here, or download it, or you can subscribe. Let's subscribe. And these controls up here will let you change the way that the podcast list is displayed. On the iPad, because you have extra screen space, the list is much nicer, where you have the list of subscribed podcasts down the left, and when you tap on one, the list of episodes for that show shows up here on the right. And again, tapping on the I brings you to the show notes, which you can scroll through. And to begin playing an episode, just tap on it. Like the iPhone version, you have the buttons across the bottom for the previous and next shows, play, pause, and skip backwards and forwards 30 seconds. Tapping on this button in the upper right will show you the list of episodes, and you can go skip ahead or play a different one. And finally, on the iPad, you swipe upwards on the album art image to bring up the speed controls, as well as the share button and the snooze button, as well as a really cool retro reel-to-reel tape recorder style interface. Finally, tapping on the cog wheel brings up an options menu where you can choose whether or not to subscribe to the podcast, to automatically download new episodes, you can change the sort order, and you can mark all episodes as played or unplayed. And that's all there is to it. Hope you enjoyed this video. For Otaku no Podcast, this is Donald Burr saying thanks for subscribing, and sayonara, Johnny.